Hi, I'm Rhiannon Faith, and I'm here to tell you a story, Easter edition, since it's Palm Sunday. I was thinking about different memories and things that came up during my childhood around Easter, and it was always kind of a special time and is my favorite holiday of all holidays. And one of the things that's kind of fun about doing these videos is that my sister, who more or less doesn't remember her childhood whatsoever, I was there for. I remember all these stories and all of these different moments, and so it's fun to share them again, and it cues little bits and pieces for her where she remembers something of her very brilliant childhood, our fun and interesting upbringing. Anyhow, so they are not in chronological order, and they'll probably be musings as they come to mind or recollection. But one of them, so Easter was always really special because the celebration of the resurrection of Christ, and this is what sets apart Christianity from other faiths. But so going to church, of course, always a really big deal, and getting dressed in your Sunday best. And so when I was little, we would get a new pair of shoes for Easter. You couldn't wear the shoes until Easter, and oftentimes we participated in picking out the shoes. But my favorite pair of shoes that we had, or that I got, I don't remember if Kristen got the same ones, because at that point, that didn't matter to me. In my fourth, fifth grade mind, seriously irrelevant what pair of shoes my sister got. But they were these really fabulous kind of leather high top with little cutouts of floral design, and they were truly spectacular. And of course, they were white because they're Easter shoes. So they definitely were not going to be worn before Easter, because at minimum, Easter Sunday, they were going to be white for church and everything else. So in any event, I got those shoes and I loved them so much. And after Easter and thereafter, I wore those shoes until they near fell off my feet because I loved them so much. And I have looked for shoes similar to that. I mean, I don't think I could rock that style anymore, but something of that like note of the cutout, laser cut design with sort of a floral pattern and a leather upper, they were really cute. Anyways, I loved them, loved them. Those were pinnacle shoes of my childhood. There are a couple pinnacle shoes that I had. The blue Nikes with the red laces. Yeah, I rocked that look. But this specifically was one of my favorite, and it was the Easter shoes. But again, every year on Easter, we got a pair of shoes that you could not wear until Easter. And then once Easter came, you could wear them thereafter. We often lived away from family, out of state, or just somehow managed not to coincide with other plans and things. So Easter was frequently a holiday where we would go and have a special meal at a hotel. When we lived a feast or famine childhood. So if things were really good, we would go to the Hyatt and we would have the buffet where you get to do the omelet bar, and it'd be all schmancy and fabulous, which was a lot of fun. And so Kristen and I had a good time running up and down, getting 80 omelets that we probably took 2 bites of. So wasteful, honestly. I never get a good value out of a buffet because I cannot possibly eat enough, and so then I'm irritated, even though I would hands down pay more for a meal in a sit-down setting where it was a single meal. For some reason, the buffet freaks me out. Feel all this pressure to eat more than I'm comfortable eating, and to somehow get my money's worth, again, knowing that I would have paid more for a single meal that I would comfortably finish. I don't know, something about the buffet dynamic. I'm not your girl for that, but I'll go because others in my life do love a good buffet, and so I'm along for the ride. I feel like it offsets because they do enjoy it and then they really eat it, and so maybe it all comes together with that, but that's, unrelated to this whatsoever. The other thing that I was kind of thinking about is one of the other traditions that we had was going to the Bali High in San Diego, which is now under different ownership. But we went there a number of times for Easter with my Aunt Linda and Uncle Fred and my cousins, Fred, Anna, and Zandy. And we always had a really great time. And this one year, my aunt made dresses for all of us. And so Anna, myself, my sister, and Zandy, we all had matching dresses. So it was this white gingham pattern with like a boat neck with straps, and then we had little jackets, and our jackets were in a specific color to bring out one of the highlight colors or pinstripe colors in this gingham pattern. And so Anna had green, I had yellow, my favorite color, and Kristen had baby blue, and Zandy had pink. And so what was funny is, even though we all had our little colors and we wore them during that time, when the girls grew out of them, they like edged up to the next size jacket. So I don't know if Zandy ever made it to the yellow jackets. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure she edged into the blue jacket at some point, because the pink one, I mean, she was really little at the time we had those, but I really loved that dress, particularly because I had the yellow jacket, which was, again, my favorite color and still is. Red's my top 2 favorite color, but yellow, hands down, very favorite color. And so those were really special, and my aunt took a ton of time to do it, and I'm sure in some relatively unhelpful manner we helped, you know, putting pins in something or whatever. Mostly we were likely just in the way, but it was really wonderful craftsmanship, and we all looked fabulous. And I have no idea how long it took her, but it was a good long while, because there were 4 of us, 4 dresses, all with these matching little jackets, little bolero style short sleeve jackets, which were really cute. And I do feel a little bad for Anna, because while we were all on the younger end, where like putting us in cutesy matching dresses was definitely okay and a thing, Anna was not exactly. She was in high school, and I gotta imagine that was not the look she was going for or wanting, you know, to match her younger cousins and little sister, but she's such a trooper and wonderful. So and happy belated birthday to Anna yesterday. She's one of my you know, very close cousins, and super awesome person. So anyhow, it was a special time, but Anna got roped in with the little people in the matching outfits. And then there have been lots of really cool Easter experiences at church. Amazing times of worship and awesome messages. This one type, Radiant Church, used to do these really spectacular like carnival situations, which was super over the top, but you know, a fun time for the family. So this one, Charlie was a baby. Yeah, it was before he was 1, and they had like the petting zoo and a rock climbing wall, and I feel like there were rides, but I don't remember entirely because it was kind of focused on my little person. And Caitlin and Cheyenne had an amazing time running about to all of the stuff, the petting zoo and the different rides, and you know, face painting and all of that stuff. We toned that down significantly afterwards, but you know, that was good. Good for a good time. But the messages inside were far better. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people never made it inside, because the glitz and glam and fun of the experience outside was distraction enough for them to come, enjoy, and leave, which is primarily, I suspect, why those did not continue for very long thereafter. When jumping back a number of years, when I was in probably 7th or 8th grade, we did, maybe it was earlier than that. I guess it could have been earlier than that. We went to, 7th or 8th. It really doesn't matter. Nobody's going to fact check me on this. We were living in Knoxville, and there was a big Easter egg hunt. It was definitely 7th or 8th grade. And somehow I was able to go. I probably exaggerated my age. That's a possibility. But there was an Easter egg hunt at the World Fairground, which was a really cool spot, and there's big parks over there. And so we went, I got to go, and I got one of the golden eggs, which was so awesome. And I don't remember what I won, but it was really cool and quite a big deal to get a golden ticket or a golden egg with the winning prize, one of the prize tables. And it was like, it really was a pretty spectacular setup. And so Easter egg hunts are always like good sporting fun. I used to make them really fun for the kids, where they'd have to like go from one thing to the other thing. Like that would be a whole situation, kind of advancing from one egg, like here's a hint and go find your other thing. That would be for some special experience that they were going to get to go on or do or whatever. So that was kind of cool. Probably my most infamous Easter experience was when I was young, somewhere between first and third grade. I don't remember which one, but we lived in married student housing in Knoxville at Golfland Apartments, which is now a beautiful sports complex. The apartments don't exist anymore, but my parents went to school at University of Tennessee, and so we lived in that housing in apartment R7, which was really cool because we lived there when I was 7, and so in my the world revolves around me mind, R, my first initial Rhiannon, and apartment 7, I was 7. It was like destined to be, obviously. I wish I was kidding. That's really what I thought. And so anyhow, I'm asleep in my bed. My sister and I had bunk beds, which were really like death traps. My parents were super poor. And so they were scary. Like, you had to be really balanced as you climbed up them. It was almost like one of those carnival rides or a carnival games where you like run up the ladder, you know. It was like that. You really have to manage your balance or the whole thing will come over and you'll go too. But I'm probably exaggerating slightly, only slightly though, because it was really scary. So middle of the night, this is Easter Eve, I'm asleep in my bed and I hear something, and I'm a light nighttime sleeper. I'm not a light nap time sleeper. So during the day sleeping, I'm dead. Like, actually, there's no getting me up. And if you manage to figure that out, I'm going to be hostile. I wish it wasn't that way, but yeah, I'm not good to be woken up in the middle of the day if I'm napping. But at night, it's like a pin drop and I'm awake. So I hear something, some rattling or whatever, and I thought that was super weird. And I'm curious and I'm thinking, it's the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny has come. And our beds were situated so that I could see out my bedroom door and see down the hall into the living room and the front door. And so as I kind of peer out to see what is going on and what is making this sound, I'm thinking my mom is like clumsily putting out eggs, because I wish I had a more innocent, oh, the mystery, but I didn't. I knew about all of this stuff way earlier than I probably was prepared to, but the mystery was gone. Except what I saw as I looked down the hall was the Easter Bunny. The no joke person in a bunny suit in my house, in our apartment. We were on the second floor, so it's not like an easy on the way to something or, you know, stumbled into the wrong apartment. And he was like kind of like ruffling around and stuff. And I was petrified. Oh my gosh, so afraid, because I thought, like, every part of logic and reason, which is a strange thing for a, 5 to 7 year old to be contemplating, but that's where my head went. I know there's no Easter Bunny. Why is there an Easter Bunny in my house? This person, I just had a vibe, like there's harm to be done. Why is this person here? I don't feel safe. I'm very afraid. What is going on? And I never had an issue with like the Santa Claus at the mall or the Easter Bunny wherever. So this was just like an unsettling, I'm not safe kind of situation. And so weird, but I like climbed back in my bed as quietly as I could possibly, because again, this thing, rickety bunk bed, I was thinking for sure it's going to creak or make a sound and he's going to recognize that I'm awake and he's going to come for me. And so I'm like quietly pulling the covers up over my head, because like a cat, I was thinking, if I can't see him, he can't see me. So I laid there in this petrified state of being wide awake, but totally unresolved in any of the issues, praying that my dad, who was super duper protective, was going to wake up to this, which he did not, and come to our rescue and deal with whatever was going on with this random person in our house. At some point they left, but I didn't hear, because in my petrified state of being wide awake, I somehow fell asleep. Like, but not, oh, I'm tired, I'm gonna doze off. I went from just scared to sleep, I guess is the only way to put it. Wide awake and then dead asleep again. So morning comes and I'm so afraid to tell my parents what I saw, because I'm thinking I have a little bit of a storytelling issue. They are not gonna believe me. So I'm like holding on to this, but I'm weird the whole day. And my mom's commented about me being weird. Like, what is your deal? And so we had neighbors that were not married, just like groups of guys that lived together on either side of us. This one set, they come over and they're like, oh my gosh, we were robbed. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. You know, they're having this conversation. I'm like, the Easter Bunny was here. He's robbing people. So it turned out some jerk in an Easter Bunny costume robbed people in the apartment complex on Easter Eve. How messed up is that? And also super creative, because if a kid would have seen them, what are they going to do? Like, don't rob us, Mr. Easter Bunny. Why are you taking things instead of leaving us eggs? I mean, it's really kind of a brilliant cover, right? I'm just the Easter Bunny. What? But they had stuff missing, and my dad then discovered like there was some stuff missing. And finally, and it wasn't anything real exciting because, again, we were poor. Who robs, by the way, like poor college students? I think our rent was $207 a month. Like, what means did we have? We did have, actually, though, a really nice stereo system, because while we didn't have food in the refrigerator all the time, we were always really decked out with electronics and artwork. So curious. Anyhow, nothing really super special was missing, because like we had DVDs by that point, and that was kind of new technology. Not a lot of people had that. I'm sorry, CDs. Oh my gosh. DVDs were not a thing yet. CDs were out, and we had a CD player, and that was kind of novel because it was early in technology, and we definitely should not have had that because, again, they were poor. But I guess a couple of them were missing. Probably pretty useless, though, because, again, not a lot of people could afford a CD player at that time. Anyhow, I finally confessed, like, the Easter Bunny did it! Oh my gosh! And I was like so afraid of the Easter Bunny. So it was really fun as a mom when the kids would be like, oh yeah, right. Santa doesn't exist. The Easter Bunny doesn't exist. I'll have you know, I've seen the Easter Bunny. He was in my house. I saw him. He is real. Okay, he's not real, but I saw him and he was in my house, robbing the place, no less. But nobody was injured, to the best of my knowledge, or what I overheard in conversations that weren't for me. So I guess, dodged a bullet. And the vibe that it was spooky and weird, accurate. Okay, yikes. Pardon the interruption. Minor catastrophe with Raja trying to make yet another debut appearance. Anyhow, another really special moment for Easter was when I was in high school, my freshman year. My parents were living with some family friends. My sister and I were living with other family friends. And for Easter, we had gone down, a lot of times on the weekends, we would go down and stay with our parents at that house. And so this particular one, it was for Easter Sunday. We were there, and it was my parents were staying with the Pates, and my sister and I stayed with the Scheibels. And so while we were staying with the Pates that weekend, they took us to church. But in the morning before church, we woke up, went out to the breakfast table, and Charlene Pate had gotten C's candy boxes for my sister and I, as well as her kids. And we just thought that was the most special and lovely thing, that she thought about us and included us with a special treat for Easter. And I'm sure that was not something that was like a huge deal for her, but I'll tell you, it was a huge deal for Kristen and I. And I just thought, like, how special is this, that here we are, honestly, invading their home, staying with them, and, they've put up our parents, and they're allowing us to stay there also on these weekends. And then on top of it, she goes out of her way to include us in this really sweet gesture, and sweet, both for the candy and the lovely thoughtfulness of it. And it was such a small thing, really, like in the grand scheme of life and what have you, but it made us both feel really special. And I so appreciated it, and that heart that she had to do that. And so whenever I've had an opportunity to do some sort of act of kindness or consideration for someone, I really try to do that. A little bit of thoughtfulness, particularly around the holidays, where somebody might have been missed out or miss out or not be remembered or chronically disappointed, you pick. I try to do a little something to brighten their day because I feel like, honestly, there's just a lot of opportunity for a little bit of love to go a really long way. So thank you, Charlene. That was really, really sweet of you and really left a mark. It was a wonderful gesture. So like I said, tons of amazing church services. Some of my favorites were the ones with the sunrise service and there was one we would go to in Calvary, where Calvary Chapel Vista, where they'd go to the park and be in the amphitheater. That was always really cool. I've been to the sunrise services at Mountain Park. Actually, that was my first Sunday at church with my very wonderful Tim. And that was this will be our fourth Easter. That was 3 years ago, 2019. And it was so cool to be able to be there and share Easter because, again, favorite holiday for such a long time, and to celebrate God's goodness and his sacrifice for us to be with him. So very, really amazing. So anyways, that is, I guess, all I can really think about to share right now. But just like I said, some musings, thoughts, remembrance, little stories of Easter's past. And so really looking forward to a beautiful Easter this year, although I won't have my oldest with me. I miss you, Cheyenne. I love you. I'm sure it will be wonderful, and we'll have a good Easter here in the Valley of the Sun. All right, well, come back again. I hope to see you again and tell you another story.